Alright, I'm starting up the stream. Looks like the stream is running. Hi everyone, I'm TigerHawk3, and today we're going to continue with Tetris. So last time on Tetris, we added the piece rotation function, and it didn't quite work in the manner I expected it to. I thought the center point would be more accurate, but I was just let's see if I can point out where it happens. This stuff, dividing by 2 to find the center column, is not quite right. It always rounds towards 0, so we get it too far to the left. If this is the center column, this is the row, maybe we can add one sometimes, but we'd have to subtract the rest. Let's do the original plan and do this manually. So we are going to import itertools. Gonna use that. Actually, first I'm going to bind up to self.shift and also W. And uppercase W. Okay, and now I want to add up W and W to the list of down moves. Shift down, no, of rotate moves. EQ0 up. No, it's up like this, right? Because we have down like that. So up, W and W. Okay, that should be a little easier to use. Okay. We are going to add something to the spawn method. Okay. So what will we do? We're going to have a cycle of coordinates to move the piece slightly each time we rotate it. Okay. If self.active piece to if len this is the same as the len of that, self.active piece rotations will be itertools.cycle, and I can do just testing. A equals itertools.cycle range 3. Oops. Didn't want I just call next a bunch. Yeah, okay. Great. Dot cycle. We have to pass it an iterable. So we pass it a tuple of 0, 0 in a list. That's a lot of brackets. That's okay. All right. Okay. Elif. Let's do, oh, I already have shape 0. So this can just be shape. We can clean that up now. Forgot a parenthesis. Okay. Do I have a length? No? Okay, that's fine. So this means it's a square, the 2 by 2, and rotating it doesn't have any problems, because the integer division always happens to be exact. 2 can be divided in half evenly. More. Else. Okay. Do I have paint in here already? I do not. That's annoying. Okay. Lens shape. So this is when it's taller than it's wide. And this is when it's wider than it's tall. Okay. Tall shape. Square wide shape. Alright. Think. So if it's like that, actually, here's what I will do. Because a wide shape and a tall shape, basically the only difference is one has been rotated a bit already. That's how we'll think of it. So we have a tall shape, we have a wide shape, and it's just rotated. So if it's the other one, we'll just go to the next one in the cycle. Alright. This would do that. We just want 0, 0 a whole bunch. Otherwise, shall we switch this around? Yes. And now we will call it a wide shape. Next. Okay. What will we put in here? Other than square brackets. So if it's taller than it's wide, then when we first rotate it, we don't want any change to what it's naturally going to do. And then next, we will do this. I should really draw this out, huh? Do I have... I honestly don't have paint in here. I really should. Let me, remedy this situation. Don't know why I didn't have it. Editing on the fly is always perfectly fine. I need a window capture. I've probably done that. Paint. Add. Alright, there we are. Awesome. Wow. Okay. Down here. How about over there? Great. So, let me draw a grid of 3 by 3. Where am I? Over here. Okay. I'm going to draw a grid of 3 by 3. So I will have a box, a square, very good. And then I will do this. Copy, transparent selection, paste. Doesn't have to be perfect. Paste. And paste that. And paste that. Delightful. So, we have a brush, there we go. So let's say we have a piece like this, and that's an S, I believe, here. That's an S. Yeah, vaguely. The first time we move it, if we rotate it to the right, it will be like that. And then, let's do that again. Like this. And paste. Rotate right. Alright. Great. So we have over here, this one is fine, but for this, the way our program is doing it is putting things over. I want a brush. Thank you. Is putting it over here because it's got. Can I have a bigger thing? It's got this shape over here, and then it is rotating it to the right, but it doesn't know whether to put it on the left square here or on the right square here, because it can't put it like in between, can't divide by 3, so it's doing 3 divided by 2, and that's 1.5, and since we're doing integer division, because we need integers for all the math stuff, it's getting 1. So it's putting it over here. We don't want that. So we're going to say we have 0, 0. Give me a black brush. 0, 0. That's the awfulest looking zeros you have ever seen. That's fine. And for this one, we want to move the x plus 1. And y is just fine. And then here, this would otherwise be up top. Actually, it would be centered over here. So what we would have is we would have this here. We do not want that, so we have to move it to the left one and down one, because this has to go over here with an arrow. Thanks. And then he's going to take the ball and run to the end zone. No. So that's the x coordinate has to go down by 1, which makes sense because we increased it here. It's going to go -1, and since it goes x like this and y downwards for a canvas, and for our 2D list as well, we want -1. Let's put commas in here. -1 and +1. And then when we rotate this back around to this over here, get a large indicator, thanks. When we move from here back to the original place, that would have been 1 down, because it's going to use the same top left space, basically. And so we would then have this here over there. So we would need to move it. It's already in the right column, but so that's a 0. And -1. All right. Back to code. 0, 0. Let me write that down real quick. All right. And let me take that out. Okay. Very excellent. What am I doing? 0, 0. 1, 0. And something and something. We don't need that last one. -1 and 1. And 0 and -1. And if it's wide, we say just move to the next one. So if it's square, we just have this, no need to move anything. If it's not square, then we will create this instead. And then if it's not just not square and is specifically wide, then we will get the next one. So now we need to do something with the rotation. In rotate somewhere. Goodness gracious. Row of the new shape, column of the new shape. Okay. I want to get the next one, but not necessarily. How do I do that? Will cycle work? Or should I just use indexes? Let's... yeah. So I'm going to get the next one, but then I want to put it back, because getting the next object in a cycle, does not allow us to put it back where it was, because we just want to look, and then we want to see if it's not possible, then don't do anything. And we still want to have that same rotation offset available. Okay, so we just have a list, and this won't work. We will need another thing. Active piece. This could probably be a class. I don't know. It doesn't have any behavior itself. It just has data. So active piece rotation index equals 0. Plus equal 1. Okay. So, instead of a cycle, we're going to use modular arithmetic, which means we will divide and get the remainder. This will prevent us from going out of bounds of for the index of these lists. Back up to rotate. Where did it go? Here we are. Okay. Row and column of the new shape. Okay. Do we want the old shape? Yes, temporary. This is the old one that we're just looking at. This is the new one that we're going to try. X correction, Y correction equals. Will we need to use modular? I don't know. Active piece rotation. Index that with the rotation index. Okay. If it's successful, there are two possibilities. One is increasing the rotation index by 1 each time, and then just using modular arithmetic to get the remainder, so it doesn't get too big. But the number itself will still be big. We will just be transforming it into a smaller number. So we can do that, or we can check how big it is, and then put it back to 0 if it's equal to the length of the array. Of the list, I mean. Python does have an array type, which we went through in a previous stream, I believe. The Python module array, and you can make an array.array. It's homogeneous data types only. That sort of thing. It's faster. Anyway. Row temporary plus equal y correction, because the the row could be here or here or here, and this is the y-axis that it's moving on. Colon temporary plus equal x correction. Okay. If we can't, then return, but if we can, then it's the new shape, etc. Too far up. Rotation index plus equal 1. If we're gonna do say this equals itself plus 1 plus 1. Don't try this at home. One modulo. Do I need another one? I think I might. Equals parenthesis. So we're going to add 1 to whatever that rotation index is, and then we're going to take a modulo of the length of the rotation thing. Okay. So instead of adding 1 all the time and doing modulo length of the list over here, we are going to get the modulo of the list when we put it in there. So it will not grow too much. Okay. Shall we try that and see what I broke? Maybe? This seems... oh, there's a random if hanging out there. I don't need that. That would have been a syntax error. Okay. Save. Okay. Let me give you that. Does not appear broken yet. Still not broken. Okay. I'm going to press up, and that should rotate the piece to the right. And it should then be here, 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 and down. Nope. Kasplody. Darn. RT, where is that? Line, okay, let's close this because it doesn't work. RT 177. Why don't I have that? Because it never happened. If this, of that, of that. Oh, I didn't change the... didn't add it here. I gotta do that, don't I? It was neither left nor down nor right. I'm using these for rotate. This has to be rotate, doesn't it? Whoops-a-daisy. Why is it all shift? This has to be rotate. Duh. Up is rotate. This is rotate, this is rotate. A, S, and D are shifts. Rotates, rotate. Okay. That should work better. Bound them to the wrong function. There. Beautiful. Let's try that again. Okay. It should rotate that to be here, here, and then down and right. No. Not string. What is rotation index then? So this was 88. This thing here, I'm indexing a list with a string. Oh, of course I am. Duh. Wow, what a mess. But okay. That's not making me happy. I have a whole bunch of very long names. That's awful. But I don't know, man. Rotation has to be this as well, added before the thing. How much? After rotation, it must be that. That is frankly offensive. But those are the names I have, and I'm using things for indices. I have an index for something. I have a value in a dictionary, and I'm indexing it with another value in the dictionary. So then it's messy. I think that's the extent of how nice it's going to look at this point. But let's run it again. Okay. It should do this, this, and down, and then here. No. Because this is wrong. I have to change the rotation index only. This is actually what I have to do. Rotation index is equal to, this is not in the rotation. It's the rotation index plus 1 modulo the length of the rotation. Okay, that's a little better. Still a mess. Okay. X correction, my correction. I'm accessing the rotation list, and I'm indexing it with the rotation index. Okay. Okay. So now, this is wide, so it should move this way when I rotate clockwise. Instead of going like this, it should be over there on this side. So instead of being a square over here, and here, and here, with one in there, it'll be to the right of that. Here, 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 and one in there. Nope. That looks really weird. That's not right. Yeah, that's I don't like that. This should end up with things over here and one in there. But it's on the left. That's not good. Didn't do it. And this should be lower down. And that's correct. No matter how many times I turn it, it's still wrong. So, it didn't work. Let's do the following. We already kind of know this. Let's print, no. Let's print what am I even looking for? Let's do this thing. Do I have a print somewhere in here? This, I only need this. Actually, we can just X correction, Y correction. Let's print those things. Okay. Okay. 0, 0, 1, 0, but it didn't move it. -1, -1, 0, -1. Is it not doing that? If this return equals, oh, I didn't save it in the shape, did I? Because I created the shape. I need to increase the, oh, okay. See this whole shape business? And then I'm looking in the rows and the columns, and then I just use the old shape that hasn't been modified. Or am I? Check whether we can do it. Set it equal to the shape. X start coordinates. Where do we actually rotate the piece? Okay, let's start chords. Where do we do that? Where do we replace parts of the board? Where is the board? Board. board. Hello. Where do we change that? Where are these used? This is odd. Am I not doing anything with the board? I could have sworn I was. So let's do the following. Let's get this printing again. Run that. Okay. Looks like it is saving it in some way. Okay. Where do I change what the active piece is? It's not in... Is it in down? Because something isn't actually happening. I don't need this anyway. Row, column, length, width. Having the event. Shape is this. Whatever. Else it's a different shape. So this is just the shape and it's not on the board yet. Don't we have some board thing? Put shape onto board. So dot board row column equals square. Do I never do that? Huh. I never change the active piece to be on the board. Okay. Maybe I should do that. That's very odd. I rotated something but never put the shape on the board. That's not good. I don't feel very good copy-pasting this. Move into function, I don't know. Zip range R. And what is R exactly? Shape onto the board. Oh, we have already decided to increase it. So let's actually check whether we may do it and then actually do it. Check whether we may rotate a piece. Rotate the piece. And this needs to be the row temporary, because we didn't change the other ones yet, so this temporary one is going to be used further. Temporary, squares. And have we already changed that? We have not. So let's move that here. And here we can just do... No, let's keep this the same. Let's change the... Let's just change the shape. We should move it onto the board, though, actually. Check whether we may rotate a piece. What is shape exactly? Where did we do that? Isn't that this thing here? Back we go, ladies and gentlemen. Take that out. Okay. Row temporary, etc. And where do we get the shape? Here's where we do that. So let's change shape as well. No, it's not shape that we change. It's the row that we need to mess with. So this is whether we can do it. Let's get that put shape on the board. Function. Okay, row squares in range. This has to be row temporary, because that's the one we actually want to use. This one we actually increased the row, I believe. Did we? Put shape on the board. Yes, r plus equals 1. Okay. So instead, we'll use the temporary one anyway. T and squares if square. We can just use the shape. Self.board row column equals square. Okay. So we hadn't put the shape onto the board. And so the increased temporary row wasn't doing anything. Really? Let's see what happens when I run this. Can I still do that? Yeah. Great. Rotate, no errors. 0, 0. Okay. Alright. Now we shall see. Nope. It stays in that upper left corner. To the right. It should be to the right of this. Maybe it's the appearance. Oh. Chords, perhaps? Minimum of this, minimum of that. How have I been doing this? Minimum x coordinate, minimum y coordinate. Here's why I would have to change that. With the x correction and y correction. So this is the x correction. So it needs the x correction. X correction times self dot square width. Hope this works. I think it's here that I need to do stuff. It's going to be similar like that, only it's going to be Y. Okay. All right. See what happens. I don't know. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Very good. Does it actually work as I expect it to? This here, it goes around in a jolly little circle. Very it goes all the way down. That's bad. Something's wrong. Something's very wrong. That just wasn't correct. It hasn't rotated. It's fine. It was still on the left of where it was. So that one looks a little wonky. And it can't move all the way over there. But it can over there. That's great. That's good. Uh-huh. Okay. We do it again, and it is incorrect. Okay. Let's add, I think these were working fine. Or len shape equals 1, or len shape 0 equals 1. That's great. So at least the I-beam will look more correct. Just go. Nope, didn't like that. Because I have this here. Plus equal 1, that's bad. That means this has to be moved into there. Okay. Give me another piece. Goes directly into the... That's not right. They don't know where they are. Nope, that actually was inferior to what was there before. So let's not do that. Okay. The problem occurs when I rotate things. It's going to be somewhere in rotate. This is taking a while, but I think we'll get it. We have the old row, column, length, and width, and center column of the shape. And we have the new one. We have the X and the Y correction. Row temporary, column temporary. Either we can do it RT and RT plus L. This is going to be the same as this stuff. Only we're doing a different thing. If square... if there's a square in the piece we're rotating, and there's something taking up space over there, we're done. But if we're not done, then we go through it again and say if there's a square there, put it in the board. And then we have our shape. We have our active piece, our rotation index increases. Okay. It just looks incorrect. Let's see if I can rotate a piece, and it just can't go over there. Let's see where it ends up. It thinks it's all the way on the left, but it isn't. It doesn't appear to be, rather. Why isn't it doing that? The first rotation is 0, so that should be fine. First rotation is 0, so that should be also fine. Yes. First rotation is 0. The next rotation is not. The next rotation is 1, 0. So 1 to the right, and it is 1 to the right. Do we ever change the chords? Maybe that's what it is. Active piece chords. This thing. We need to change the coordinates, because when I change the chords, it's wrong. It's using the old one. Equals column coordinate this. All this stuff doesn't take into account the correction factor. Great. Okay, this is using the next one of squares. Iterator for indices. This should be fine. Uses chord. So I think I only have to change it here. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. x1 plus x correction times self.square width. This is 1 times width plus x times width, which is x plus 1 times width. Width times this plus 1. And for the y, it's actually going to be very similar to this. Only it needs to be y. Okay. Wow. I didn't show you any of that, did I? Sorry. I'm looking in this thing, which actually does things with the canvas. So I get my x start and my y start, and then I go through the y start and I go through the x start, etc. And that's all well and good. It looks fine. But I was never changing the chords. for the piece properly. I only had this stuff. So I was using the old coordinates, which were using row chord and column chord, which was actually xstart should have used that, shouldn't it have? Xstart is the minimum chord. Oh, for tuple and self.active piece chords, for chord in this one. So I was looking at the coordinates. I was looking at each one and then incrementing what I had. I had a data structure, and I was building a number out of the data structure plus 1 for each of the things, plus some value. But I never put that value back into the data structure. So I was determining the minimum locations properly, but I didn't change the coordinates. This thing here, active piece chords, never actually changed it. I went through it and used the numbers and did things with the numbers, but I never put the updated numbers back in. So now I'm doing that. And let's see what we get. That's not right. Way too far. But that's correct, I think. And now that's not correct. Did I just exacerbate the problem? Okay, let's look at it once again. I went through and changed the board. I think, will we be able to use this in the canvas thing? Whatever we did here, something is going wrong. We are using y_start. Column chord uses xstart, which uses this. So it should work fine. Let's run it once more. Move it all the way to the left, and here, and still on the left. Okay, and it thinks it's over there. So now it's it shouldn't be all the way on the left. Right, because this is actually over here. This piece, you're seeing it in both the, let me move that aside. This piece is actually over here, which corresponds to this stuff over there. So, what a mess. Let's see if I can reduce the loops here. Well, the representation of the board is correct. Okay. Put shape onto board. Very good. So I have the temporary row and column. Let me actually take, because this was, let me double check again to make sure. It's going 2 columns to the right. Yeah. 2 columns to the right. And now it's only 1 column to the right. Does it have to be subtracted? Minus? Minus. Maybe minus? Because we added it and it went further. Let's try that. Minus. Self.square width. So we had plus the width plus we had plus the width plus x times width. Now we want plus width minus x times width. 1 minus x. We had plus w plus w times x. So that's 1 times w plus x times w, which is 1 plus x times w, and now we want minus x times w. So plus 1 minus x times w. 1 minus x times w, or minus x plus 1 times w. Just minus. Let's see what happens. Boring. Oh. Goodbye. Not right at all. Plus x correction times square width should be minus. So it's plus this, let's just do it regularly, minus x correction times self.square width times self.square width, and that's minus. Okay. Add the width minus that. Okay. Let's see what happens again. Now it's doing the same thing over and over again. is the old behavior that we didn't want. But at least it's correct, I guess. I have a mess somewhere in here. Let's see if I can get rid of all this stuff by doing it in here. So we have the row, which is proper, the temporary row. Let's move this a little higher. Can I even do that? No. Cut. Paste. Okay, we have our squares. And that is a... Where do I even get that? Oh, I just have a range of 4. Square indexes, okay. Alright, great. If there's a square in here, we have the row and the column, and the squares and the square. If there's a square, we need to change square index. No, we need to change the chords, and we need to do a chords call on the canvas. This is taking longer than I had been wanting. Not that far. Put shape onto board. There's a square next of square indexes. And then we need to change the coordinates. And the other thing, let's copy this into here. And what is the coordinate? It will be a tuple of the column temporary times the square width. That's x1, y1, x2, y2, column temporary times self dot square width. So that's x1, and then y1 is, no, that's not column temporary. That's column. And this is row times self dot square width, and column plus 1. Square width, and row plus 1 times self dot square width. Don't strictly need the parentheses, but I'm putting them in there. So we have the coordinates, and then square index, put the coordinate in there. Okay. change the rotation index, and we don't need any of this as far as I know. Should be able to get rid of that. Let's see. Let's see. Nope. Chord. Oh, I never saved that as a thing. Let me get rid of that for once. So this, I never said what that is. Chord equals that. Reduce that over there. And the chord, okay. Chords changes needs chord. So we save the new coordinates and we put them into this particular square index for those coordinates, and then we say that piece's square index gets a new coordinate set. Okay, let's try again. Something's wrong there. What in the world? That's odd. That was not expected. It's not doing that properly either, for that matter. At all. Okay, broke everything. Should have worked, but really didn't. Did we do a next call here? Yeah. We have the square indexes. Let me run that one more time. Oh, now it works. Only no, it doesn't. Doesn't at all. Wow. So it wasn't weirdly broken like the last time. It actually has things. And if I don't rotate anything, it is perfect. But as soon as I do rotate something, it's totally messed up. I'm tempted to throw all of this away and say, you know what, it was fine. This changes the rotation index to the next one. This says we have a new shape. Was the command line version correct? Move it all the way to the right and all the way down. It's somewhere over there. All the way to the right, one to the left, and it's right next to it, as you can see. So this is correct in theory. We have that being accurate, I guess, at least. And when it's 0, it works. It sort of worked for a while. How about that? Where does it think it is now? It thinks it's 1 to the left. But I think it's good that we got rid of all of this stuff and are just going with that. Active piece, chords, etc. Let's see what we're doing. We check whether we can move it, and then we put it on the board, and then we say get the next index out of the iterator, and we make a coordinate set. This should be correct. Row being should be fine. So the row goes from 0 to 24, column goes from 0 to 10, or 0 to 23 and 0 to 9. I broke everything. Wasn't doing that last time. It looked a little weird, but it wasn't putting pieces in the wrong places. We get the next square index. Okay. We change the coordinates for a piece. That's square index. So, and the self.active piece is for a list of 4 integers representing the canvas object IDs. So first we get the 0 with 1, and we move it to chord. And then we have the next one, and there's a square. And we get the next one. Why is it doing all that weird stuff? I don't know. This should have worked, right? Column times, I broke everything. Sometimes that happens. Column times self.square width, okay. Row times self.square width, and then column plus 1, yeah, and square width is some integer of the width over 10, the width is 300, so it's 30 pixels, doesn't really matter. Column times 30 pixels. Column plus 1, and row plus 1. X1, Y1, X2, and Y2. Why doesn't any of that work? What did I have over here? I mean, the stuff was wrong, but it was column coordinate, row coordinate, column coordinate, row coordinate. None of that should be necessary because I'm getting it from, I'm gonna delete all this. It's in the previous commit anyway. Well, it's tidier. It's just wrong because of this stuff. temporary, row temporary. So this should all be fine, really. I don't currently know why it's not working. Shape. Did I assign that properly? Where is shape? Shape equals... shape equals this, shape equals that. So we've rotated it. Let's put a print call somewhere here. If square, let's put it afterward, after we do all these crazy things. Print, we want the, what do we want to see? The row and the column, I guess. How about row, column, and coord? So that'll have 4 print calls for each time I rotate a piece, 1 for each square in it. Let's see what happens. Minus 1, plus 1, minus 1. So we have 9, 4, 10, 4, 10, 5, and 11, 4. And that's row 9, 10, and 10, and 11. Column 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This doesn't help as much as I thought it would. 120, 270. Wait. Oh, yes. 120 and 270. 150 and 300. 120 and this, 150 and that. 120, 70, 300 and 300 and 330. I don't know what I'm expecting to see here. Something, and it went clonk. $20, $21, and $21, and $22. I don't know what's going on, and this didn't help. This should have worked nicely-ish. Not that anymore. Hour and a half, and all I've done is break stuff. So that's cool. What did I break? That's the question. Let me actually change my command prompt to have let me see what I can do with this. Okay. I think that's actually reasonably correct as far as a size goes. Why is it lower down? That's odd. Thought it was to the left. I didn't want it to the left. This should be the same as this. Let me get rid of that. Checking if we can do it. For row squares and zip range RT plus L, and the shape for column square and zip range CT plus W and squares. If square, okay, if square and it's full, then return. So now we've ascertained that none of those are taken. So we can say if square, then just put it there. Self.board row column equals square. Square index equals the next of the square indices. And the coordinate is this column, this row, this column, square width. I don't know why this doesn't work. Active piece is this chord, and change it to that chord. Then you shape, then you rotation index, and finish. I don't know why it's so broken. Sometimes we take a step forward, and sometimes we take a step back. And the only thing we have to do is take more steps forward than backwards on average over time. And that's called progress. But I don't know why this doesn't work. Column should be zip range CT plus W. What's W? Width of the new shape. This has to be +1, doesn't it? Because RT is... We've taken the X and Y correction into account. Let me run this one more time. When I do... this, when I do that, it should be all the way on the right. It is not all the way on the right, actually. Aha! That is all the way on the right, huh? Okay. We have our temporary row and our temporary column. And L is what? The length of the shape. If our temporary row is, let's say we have a square, so that's a length of 2. If our range is, say, if our temporary row is 5, then that would be 5 and 6. So that doesn't need a +1. I'm okay there. Okay, that was a thought. Not the right thought, but something, nevertheless. I don't really know what's going on. See, it looks right. But then no, it isn't. Is the row temporary and column temporary not getting the right corrections? Do I have these mixed up or something? I don't think I do. Row temporary plus equal y correction. So visually it's looking correct, or what? No, that's not right. So, just below the line, that's correct. That's correct. That's not right at all. That's definitely wrong. Those are correct. That's wrong. Okay. Maybe I had these things wrong? I don't know. If it's tall or wide, this means if it's wide. So I have an hour 40. We might not solve this one today, unfortunately. If length of the shape is less than this, whatever. If it's a square, it's just like that. If it's tall or wide, then the first one should not change anything at all. And the next one moves it one to the right. And the next one moves it. Let's look at our paint again. So this was working. This was working. And then we wanted to do this. I think something in here was bad. Ordinarily, it would have been up here. So we needed to move it -1 and 1. Yeah. I don't know why that's wrong. Something isn't working. Let me see if the console one is more correct or the other one. So this is all the way to the right. Okay. This should be all the way on the right. And is it? It is not. That's really weird. Let's take out this, where do I print? I think I print when I rotate or something. Yeah, let's not do that. Questions. Most of this should have worked. Okay. Let's do the following. All right. So let's try that. It'll just be no fancy rotation correction factors. Let's see what happens. Let me turn on command. That's very odd. Totally wrong. Why? Very wrong. Something rotation index. I think it was, there was too much. Okay. And that's 89. Self.active piece rotation with the rotation index. I don't know. I think I'm getting close to done for the day. Well, that sucks. I don't know what I'm looking for anymore. We have the... Let's look at this thing. Let's look at this thing. X0. X equals x plus 1 mod 4, because the length of the rotation should be 4 for most things. X, so it's 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 3. Oh, doing something wrong. 1, 2, 3, 0. 1, 2, 3, 0. Okay. That seems fine. Now what happens if we do mod 0? Can't do that. Oh, no, I need mod 1. Sorry. 0 and 0 and 0 and still 0 and it remains 0. Okay, should have been fine. So this part seems to work. But something elsewhere does not. Let's run this again and see what happens. Okay. Why does it put it one square below the top? I do not know. I do not know. Okay. This should be on the right, just there. And it looks like it is. Now let's move it down and see where it went. It didn't go to the right. Why? That's very wrong. Also wrong. I do not know. And it's been almost 2 hours, and I don't know what's going wrong. Let's change these all to zeros. Let's try that. No, not this one. I think it has to be up top here. There. Okay. 0. Let's see what happens when we just don't move anything. Can we do that? Oh, we did plus equal 1. And we can't do that when there's only 1. So obviously that wouldn't work. But let's try it with this. Wow. All over the place. And very wrong. We're not moving it at all, so it shouldn't move. Rotation index. Print X correction, Y correction. Okay. Around we go, 0. There should be none of this weirdness happening. It should all be 0. They shouldn't be correcting anything or moving anything. RT plus L. Square indexes, etc. We get the row, we get the column, we get a correction factor, we add it, which might be 0. It's 0 right now in the code. For row squares and zip whatever. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Run it again. Okay, all the way to the right. It's not going to the right. Right? No. Can't do that. Maybe some more. I'm gonna need to make sure it's on the board. Also make sure it's on the board. And row is, let's do that. If square and this and row is less than the width, or the length of the board, sorry, which is board width and board height, and row 0 less than or equal to row less than self.board height, and 0 less than or equal to column less than self.board width. Okay. This should prevent that, I guess. Nope, it didn't. Let's check whether it's in the board beforehand. Huh? There. I've been getting nicks out of range because it's trying to check whether the board in that location is taken up, but there is no board in that location. Oh, still doesn't work. Nicks out of range. I thought I took care of that. I thought I took care of that. Self.board row column rotates at just 118. Close that, get rid of this. So it says this is a problem. Self.board row column. Oh, this has to be the opposite condition. And if there's a square, let's do the following. If row not in range self.board height, or, and the range goes from 0 to the length not inclusive, okay, or column not in range self.board width, or this and this. Okay, if the row isn't in range, or the column isn't in range, or we have a square for this piece, and that place is occupied, then return. Okay. That should fix that error if I don't have an invalid syntax. This, or this, or this. Okay. Let's try it again. All I want to check now is that I can't get a error of any kind. Things will look wrong, but that's okay. Okay. I'm slightly tempted to save just this part and go back to the previous version, because I seriously messed something up. Things just aren't going in the right place now. Because I have no offset, and yet things are looking really weird. Let's put that offset back. Because why not, right? That's correct. Do I not have the... I need to account for the other rotation direction. Wow. I mean, I wasn't doing that. It's not part of the problem, but I totally forgot I had to do it. The square piece works. That's wrong. It's displaying it the way I wanted, but it doesn't know where it is. Plus equal the y correction and the x correction. Do I ever use anything else? L is the length of the new shape, etc. The shape for column and square, and zip range this in the squares. Those are the corrected ones. For this, for that, square. Put the square there, put the square index. It's been 2 hours. I think I'm done. And it's broken. So that attempt to fix things was not great. Sometimes that happens. So I think we're approaching something, maybe, I hope. And anyway, thank you for watching and bearing with me while I break everything. Sometimes I do that. but I will come back to it and try to fix it again. Because last time I worked with the incremental idle clicker game, I tried to add something, I don't remember, achievements or something. Because I had the current click value as like a parameter and wasn't saving it. There were things that I had to count up, and it wasn't. I didn't have it set up for that, so I coded for a whole stream and broke everything. But this I will try to fix because it seems small and reasonable. I hope. Anyway, that's the stream for tonight, and thanks again, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.